I know you're clapping for my coat here. Very lovely. Look at that. Look at that. Do you guys like the movie The Greatest Showman? Have you seen it? Okay, please, because by the end of the service, you're going to either think I'm crazy or hopefully you've seen it, then you won't think I'm as crazy. I love the song that we just heard, even though they may think we're crazy, a million dreams. A million dreams are keeping me awake, a million dreams. And for my journey of Mission City Church, this literally was a dream. It really was. And it started when I left Los Angeles. This is, some people dropped me off at the airport, and I had my suitcases with me. My wife already moved here, and we built a life out in California. And it was never our California dream to live in California. We went out there, and we built a great community of friends and family, but I knew that God had something more, and He put a dream inside my heart. And I truly believe, and I've shared this with you before, is that if God instills it, He'll fulfill it. So He puts a dream inside you, you go after it. But sometimes it's scary, sometimes it's fearful, sometimes you leave things behind, but you don't know what's on the other side. And when I left Los Angeles, at the airport, I have tears in my eyes with a wave like this to the camera. They took a photo, and I was like, I don't know what it's going to look like. I don't know what it's going to look like on the other side. I had no idea where I was heading to. I had no idea what was going to happen here. I was moving to Florida. I knew that the church that was prior to here, we were talking about coming in and being a part of it and planting what we wanted to do here, but I had no idea, but I had a lot of dreams. And I wasn't afraid to step out and go after my dreams. I wasn't afraid to say, you know what, I'm going to risk it all. I'm going to leave everything we have built. I'm going to leave a business. I'm going to leave friends and family and step into it and see, what did God put in my heart? What was it? Why does He want me to do this? I had no idea what I was doing, y'all. I've never led a church before. You are the suckers now. You just kept coming. I've never done this before. It just happened. But I had a dream. And this morning, I'd love to do 3 things. It's kind of all over the map, my message this morning. One, I'm going to give you a message, but one, I want to challenge you with something. And I want to encourage you. And I want to lift you up in another way. But I want to challenge you in this, is go after your dreams. Go after your dreams, whatever, big or small, go after your dreams. You don't know what God has in plan for you. You have no idea what's He going to do with your life. You have no clue what He can do. It's funny, Mission City Church was started 3 years ago in this church, and I've been here 5 years. And it's just been so incredible to see the life, the story, life transformation, so many incredible things that happened that I would have no idea if I didn't step on that plane. I would have no idea if I didn't step out and see what God could do. I would have no idea what it can happen. But almost 700 people have been baptized in the past 3 years of this church. And we've been able to be a part of things that honestly I couldn't even imagine or dream. Night of Hope was a dream for me. If you could talk to my family, always says Dustin always wanted to put on a revival that was huge. Y'all, we did Tropicana Field, y'all. We've seen conferences and people, and incredible people have come across this small little church in Largo, Florida. We've made a massive impact, a dent in this community. And it's been so incredible to be a part of a journey like this. And I tell you, I believe the best is yet. I believe it's still going to come. I think it's going to be even better and better and better than you can even imagine what this will look like. And the future of this place is so exciting. And I've been so blessed that you have allowed me to be your pastor, for you to allow me to do crazy things. I've told people before stuff that we've done, and everyone's like, you're crazy. I was like, I know, but I want to go for it. I don't want to live a normal life. I don't want to live a life that's just it's very predictable. I want to live a life of stepping out. I want to live a life of saying, let's go make a world change. Let's go do something. I don't want to live the mediocre kind of life. And you guys have been a part of that. You guys have said, let's do it. Let's go all in. A million dreams. It's all it's going to take. I love that. And yes, I'm a little bit crazy. But I think what's even more crazier is the people that follow me on my crazy dreams. And I've had so many incredible people throughout my journey here at Mission City Church. If you don't mind, we're going to do Catholic Church. Can you stand to your feet real quick? Just stand to your feet. And I just kind of want to see some of the faces. If you've been here less than 6 months, can you sit down? Just sit down. We love you, but I just want you to sit down. Give you a break first. If you've been here less than a year, you go ahead and sit down. Less than 2 years, go ahead and sit down. Less than 3 years. You guys standing here are the most craziest people in this room. No, stand for a moment. Man, I tell you, because you guys stuck it out. You guys saw it through. I mean, we've been in this room before, and there's literally probably less than 30 people in this room before on a Sunday morning, and it was like, oh my gosh, are people going to come? How are we going to do this? But you guys stuck it out. You may be crazy just like me, but we saw it through. And look how cool it is now. No one would ever thought that, like, we're going to put on an event at Tropicana Field with 21,000 people. If I would have told you guys that 4 or 5 years ago, you'd be like, what? But you bought into it. You guys could sit down. It's just so cool to see what God did. And here's a challenge for you, though. You here now, things will change. Things will be a little bit different. It'll happen. Josh will have incredible new vision and ideas and craziness, and you'll call him crazy. But look what got to happen with incredible people that stuck around and saw it through. They got to be a part of the blessing to see all the incredible things that God has done, because it's less about you than you think it is. And it's more about him. So when people say their life to Jesus, these people that have been here 4 years, 5 years, they've seen over 700 people get baptized. What a blessing that is. It's incredible. So my challenge for you, see it through. See it through. Give it another 3, 4, 5 years, 10 years. See what God's going to do through Pastor Josh and Natalie here. It's going to be incredible. I remember when I first came here, there was a few families here that are still here. The Lehmans upstairs, you guys are amazing. You guys have been here since like 5 different churches, and pastors sometimes think it's our church, but it's not our church. The people that are actually smart are the people that stay in the church, because they realize pastors come and go, but this church is still their church. So you know what? At the end of the day, I'm going to come and I'm going to go. Josh is going to come and he's going to go. But at the end of the day, this is your church. This is your church family. You stick it in with your church family. I think of someone like Al Thakra and Pat Thakra. I don't know if you're in here. Al, if you're in here, can you shout? Yeah, you in here? I don't know. I can't see you, Al. You know I'm blind. Yeah, Al and Pat, can you stand for me just for a moment? Just stand. This incredible couple. We call Al our senior pastor. Not because he's old, because he's Al is a pastor, and Al was here, seeing this church go through transition and times, and I couldn't imagine the day you saw me walk in. You're like, who is this young, dumb punk kid? And you stuck it through. And I can email you at any moment. I told Sarah the other night, I emailed him an idea on Friday night, and I said, hey, he does all our tech stuff and things like that around here. And I emailed him, I says, hey, can you do this? It was 10 p.m. at night. And Sarah's like, who are you emailing? I said, I'm emailing Pat, or emailing Al. Watch, he'll respond to me in the next 10 minutes. Right there, less than 2 minutes, he responded to me, already working on the project. I mean, incredible. Thank you guys for your service, your willingness to stick it out and continue. People like you is who we look at. This is your church. As I always said, Al, you know that, because I'm going to come and go. Josh is going to come and go. Be like, this is my church. You guys just come here. This is actually my place. So that's good. I think about Johnny. Johnny right here. Johnny was the young guy on stage at one time. And we said, man, I was like, man, I really want to build an environment of worship that people come to our church and it's just like, oh my gosh, it's incredible. It's amazing. And not just for like you guys, but for God to get the glory in it. And I knew that we could do it if we just put a little effort in and went after it. But I knew I had to go get some people to be able to make this happen. And I saw this cool guy, this cool young guy, and I was like, man, come and be a part of the church. And he was kind of iffy about it. But it's so funny now, you're the old guy, but it's just amazing. And you and I ran into each other at Lowe's, and we sat there for a couple hours, and I just kind of shared vision of what I want to do and what I want to accomplish. And you're like, you bought in, and you've been on the journey for years now, and you got to see incredible things. I mean, you got to see one of your dreams come true, being on a stage, a night of hope, and to be able to lead worship for 20,000 people. Amazing. I mean, you got to see, remember you sharing this morning, you said one of your best memories is when we did something crazy like spontaneous baptisms, which is terrifying for pastors. One terrifying thing for a pastor to do is ask people, did you receive Jesus? Raise your hand. That's scary because most pastors, you know why they tell you to bow your head and close your eyes? So you're not looking and be like, okay, yep, amen, amen, and nobody raised their hands. You know, just it's the truth. I mean, so when we did spontaneous baptism, we're like, get up in your clothes and let's go get baptized. And we did it the first time. We had no plans of it. We had no idea what we were going to do. We just had hot water back there. And 20 people walked up. And it was just so cool to step out and see what God is doing in someone else's life and just step out and say, you know, I'll just be a vessel. I'll just be used. Alex over here playing keys. I mean, you guys love watching Alex. He's an incredible worship leader. Being a part of the original band as the journey comes, he always comes and plays behind me at that emotional time. But being a part of this journey of seeing how this team developed when Shannon came and said, you know, let's really develop something here. It's been amazing. Literally, churches look at us as a standard of how do we get to this point. You guys are truly blessed with an incredible worship team. I like the sound. Just keep playing it underneath. You can go, but you can go. So many amazing people that have come through this place. With Alex Gell and Nikki Gell that have supported me throughout journeys. So many amazing friends that have really helped this place succeed and to push forward. There's 3 people, though, that are crazy enough to go wherever I go and do whatever I do and buy into a vision. I don't think you guys don't know how crazy I am. Like, I have no fear of stepping out and doing anything. I have no fear of like, hey, that person's super famous. I'm gonna go talk to that person. Like, I just don't care. I'm just gonna go after it. I'm not scared to step out. And that's what I really wanted to build inside of you guys. We hold ourselves back because of fear and fears from the enemy. But stepping out, saying, you know, we can do it. We can go after it. But what really helps you is when you have people behind you supporting you. And I get a lot of credit for a lot of things at times, the things in my life that has happened. But honestly, I do nothing, the truth of the matter. I really don't. Like, I do nothing. I just kind of say, hey, let's do this. Ha-ha, figure it out, suckers. And I leave, and then they have to go figure it out. But there's 3 people that have really helped me if they're here. Sarah, you come here. It's my wife, Sarah. My brother, Donovan. And is KJ in the room? If KJ's here, have KJ come on up. And I just want to just kind of show the faces behind the... the faces behind the craziness of what happens here. This is my wife, Sarah. She's had 3 kids. I know she doesn't look like she looks incredible, but she's had 3 kids. Working on my 4th. She says no, but you know, whatever happens, but you know, she says no. But she's crazy enough to buy into a vision. She never questioned. She says, okay, if that's what God said, we're going to go after it and we'll do it. And she's been such a help throughout these journeys and these time. Like, if you guys ever think you got an email from me, you didn't. She wrote it. It's the truth of the matter. It's like, honestly, I don't write anything. She does it all because I'm horrible at it. Can't spell a darn anything. KJ, if you guys know KJ here, she is the quiet one, but it's my mother. She has supported everything I've ever done. We've worked together, I think now 15 years. No, probably longer than that. Together in any kind of business or anything that we're doing. And it's just always a group of us just kind of like, hey, we're going to do this. I say I roll with a posse wherever I go. And this is my posse. We do life together. We're all together, always together doing things. I may be able to be the face at times, but honestly, it's these 3 that make things happen behind it. My brother over here is wearing a shirt. Yeah, we're excited he's wearing a shirt, I guess. But he's wearing a shirt that says, he didn't mean to wear this today, but it says, hardest worker in the room. And if you ever worked with him, you know it. that he is the hardest worker in the room. And he'll tell you that you suck and he's better at working. But he's incredible because he wants to make sure it is prepared and ready for people's arrival on this campus and what's going on. And whatever it takes, he says, I'm going to do whatever it takes to serve. And they have been incredible to be a part of this ministry. So as much of you, I get text messages today, I get emails, I get people come and give me hugs today saying, oh, you made an impact in my life. I didn't really make an impact in their life. They made an impact in your life. They're behind the scenes of it all. Thank you, guys. I think when Mission City started, and we're going to get to a message, but when Mission City started 3 years ago, and it actually started 5 years ago, I was in my living room, and I knew that God was going to put this on my heart, and I was like, well, what's going to be the name? And I said, well, I want the name to be Mission City Church because our mission is to reach our city. And I tried to look at and did a Google search, and there's no Mission City churches. And I found the domain was owned by someone in Texas. And the guy in Texas said, I'll sell it to you. And I was like, okay, I'll buy it. And so I bought the domain, and it kind of just started from there. And then we had the logo design. This logo design was actually designed from a guy, a missionary in Africa. And he supports his family and be a missionary in Africa by doing graphic design. And so I reached out to him and paid him to do this logo of ours. And we wanted to do lowercase and orange. People ask, well, why orange? Because I like orange. When you started, you could do it. You know what I mean? But I've been in this room when we've had 30 people, and we've had hundreds of people. And the room was painted brown and blue plush carpets. Some of you guys remember those days. And then we said, you know what, let's hide all that and paint it all black. And I like it. Black makes you look slimming and good, and it just works well. And it's just been so cool to see what God has been doing, and I believe truly the best is yet to come for you and for this church. So challenge you, if you have a dream that God's put in your heart, a desire, don't let off fear to creep in to go after it, because you have no idea the lives that you're going to impact, the people you're going to meet, and the life change that's going to happen around you. Don't be afraid of fear. Actually, fear this, fail big. I don't mind failing big. Go after failing big. If you guys want to know where my next journeys and things that I'm going to do in my life, we're going to keep this website up of Hope Tampa. We are going to do Night of Hope 2020. There's a few other things we're going to do, and we'll share with you guys as the journey goes on. But it's not about me. This is your church and what you guys are going to serve in this place. But some have asked, like, what's your next steps and what you're doing? There's all kinds of stuff that I'm doing. My mom said this the other day. Somebody asked her, he says, well, what is Dustin going to do now? Is just going to be done? She says, if Dustin's not planning or dreaming, Dustin is dead. So, and it is true. If I don't have a dream or a plan, I'm always working on something. I say the best is yet to come because it always is in my head. I'm like, we're going to go after this now. We're going to try this now. But I thank you for allowing me to be crazy, allowing me to step out, allowing me to say, like, let's go do this. And you guys stuck it through. And thank you for allowing me to be a person that has a million dreams and being a part of that. You guys are an incredible, incredible church family. And from my family to you, we love you. Love you very, very much. All right, so that's some history. Now, I want to talk to Josh just for a moment. In 2 Timothy, Paul is talking to Timothy. Timothy's a young pastor. Just to let you know, Josh is older than me. Just to let you put that out there. He's older than me. But Paul's talking to a young leader, pastor, named Timothy. And Timothy, he wanted to encourage him to keep the foundation of the word, to preach the word, and not to be swayed or wowed or awed by so many other things happening in the world, at different communicators, a new way of doing things. And he wanted to keep that foundation there. And he goes to Timothy and he tells Timothy a few things. Now remember, Timothy's a young guy. And Timothy is going to preach to older people. And as, you know, for me, I think, like, man, am I really going to sit down and listen to a 20-year-old preach to me? Probably not. And then you think, okay, what does a 40-year-old, a 50-year-old, 60-year-old look at someone that's in their 30s preaching to them? And what I love, though, is the word really clarifies that if you preach the word and not your own knowledge or thoughts, the word never is old, the word is never stale, the word is the foundation, the word is the rock, and the word is truth. So if you preach people the word, and that's what Paul is telling Timothy here. But today we're going to use Paul, the Apostle Paul, the great missionary of all, the one that has written half the New Testament, so many incredible things. We're going to use Paul as Paul's talking to your Pastor Josh this morning. Paul says to Pastor Josh, he says, I urge you in the presence of God and Christ Jesus, who will someday judge the living and the dead, and when he comes to set up his kingdom. He says, preach the word of God. Be prepared, whether in times are favorable or not. Politely correct and rebuke. Patiently correct and rebuke. And encourage your people with good teaching. We want to preach the word. We want to encourage. We want to be nice when we rebuke, but we want to give them the word. The word is the most valuable thing that a pastor has and can communicate. Not a story, not a fun life journey, none of that. It is the word that literally is the word that changes people's hearts. The word does that. He says, for its time is coming when people will no longer listen to sound or wholesome teaching. They will follow their own desires, and they'll look for teachers who will tell them whatever their itching ear wants to hear. He says, they will reject the truth and chase after myths. But you should keep a clear mind in every situation. Do not be afraid to suffer for the Lord. Work at telling others the good news and fully carrying out the ministry that God has given you. This is Paul, the Apostle Paul, talking to your pastor, saying, preach the word, carry out the ministry. This ministry has been given to you to be a good steward of, a faithful steward of, but to remember that it's not yours. And this is not our final resting place. You are here as a season, as time comes and goes, and your job is to encourage, build up, rebuke false teaching, and to lift up people, encourage them to go out and fulfill their dreams, encourage them to step into everything God has called them to do. I believe you have a pastor that's going to do that. I believe you have a pastor that is so solid in the word and believes that is the truth, and you guys are truly blessed for that. I'm excited to see how he is, and the reason I share this with you is that throughout my journey, I have watched a lot of pastors come and go, and famous pastors, and a lot of times us as pastors, we look at other pastors, we're like, man, that's really trendy, what are they doing? Let's go do that. Or that's really cool, let's go do that. Or he's preaching like that, let's go do that. And we go to and we see these trends of churches and things like this, and I get very frustrated because a lot of times you listen to these churches and you won't even hear them talk about the Word of God. They won't even preach out of the Word of God. They're telling stories and journeys and all this kind of stuff, and it's become like they said, well, the Word of God's kind of stale and old, and we're going to be relevant and cool. And it's like that's not going to help people when life hits them in the face. When crap hits the fan, that's not going to help them. It's kind of like when you and I go out to eat. And we go out to eat and we eat a good old meal. I mean a good old meal, right? And then afterwards, the server comes over just like, hey, can I interest you in any dessert? Well, what do you got? And you're like, oh, you got chocolate cake. I want some chocolate cake. Let's do that. And you eat the chocolate cake and you're like, oh my gosh, this is so good. And you love it. And then afterwards, you finished the whole chocolate cake. You didn't even share it with Natalie or anything. You just ate it all, Josh. You didn't share it. And you leave, and you're like, that was such a good decision. The next morning, you're like, I want to go to the gym. The next morning, you're like, this is the best. No, none of us say that. We love it in the moment, y'all. Like, eating chocolate cake in the moment, incredible. Afterwards, you're like, why did I do that? I feel bloated. I got a butt in my pants, and all kinds of. The next morning, you're like, oh, why did I eat that chocolate cake? I didn't need that. But it was a temptation. It felt good. It felt good in the moment. Preaching without the word is like feel-good moments in the moment. You go there and you feel lifted up, encouraged, and then you leave and you're like, wow, I feel really good about myself. But when crap hits the fan and we don't lay some seeds and some foundation and teach the word, people's lives are like, oh my gosh, my marriage just failed. Oh my gosh, my kids are going through something. Oh my gosh, I just lost my job. I need some kind of foundation here. And you're like, I'm going to look for that feel-good moment. I'm going to look for that chocolate cake, and you'll search. You'll go to a church, and the church, you're like, oh, this church is not giving it to me enough. I'm going to keep looking and looking. You keep looking and looking and looking for different churches because you're looking for a feel-good moment. But. If you go out to dinner and you order a salad and you say, I don't need the chocolate cake, you're going to thank yourself later on that night. You may not love it in the moment. You're like, it's a salad. Drizzle that whole thing with dressing. It's good. It makes it through. But like, you feel better about yourself. And your tomorrow self is going to thank you for the decisions that you made the day before. And if you do that, you're going to feel better and better and better about yourself. And I look at that, if you go to a church that teaches the Word, you go to a church that the foundation is the Word, when life hits the fan and so many issues going on in your life, you have a foundation to run to because the seeds have been planted in your heart with a firm foundation of the Word. So stick to that, and that's exactly what you have with Josh and what he's going to continue to do here. I love what it says in Isaiah. Isaiah here, God is talking in Isaiah 55. He says, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts." I kind of want to tell this to a lot of young, up-and-coming pastors, that there's this idea that we don't have to be so trendy and cool. If we just give them the Word, our thoughts are meaningless. Our thoughts are pointless compared to God. He said, for my thoughts are not your thoughts. Neither are my ways your ways, declares the Lord. He says, "For the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts higher than your thoughts." So whatever we think that, like, oh, how can we convince people, talk people, and do something with people to see how can they get closer to Jesus by if I share this or do this or act this certain way? No, if you just give them the Word and a firm foundation of that, the Word is what changes people's hearts. So my challenge now is for Josh. We're going to hit our third section in a second. Is Josh, this has been my baby. Not this jacket, but this church. All four of my kids. I was a pastor of this church when all four of my kids came into my life. So many incredible things. I was actually married on this stage many years ago in a different church name. Seen this place change, and every time I look at anything in this place, I'm like, Mom, I like that, I did that, or I designed that, or I wanted that, or we did this here, or that kind of. It's because of crazy, dumb ideas. I'm like, let's try this. We changed the stage like 15 times. Like, it was just crazy things, but it's a baby. And you know, if you have a baby and you love your child, you'll do anything for your child. But when you hand your child off to someone, which I'm terrified one day when I have to give my daughters away to a man, that boy better be packing or something, because I'm lifting now just for that day, right? And I look at it like that kind of moment, is that this has been such a baby, such a passion of mine. The reason why I moved to Florida was because of this, all of that. And today, I'm handing it over to you because I trust you, and I know your heart is pure. You're a humble person, and I know that you'll love on all these people here in this place. So Josh, this is yours. I need you to come up on stage. You get the ringmaster coat. Hold on. You got to finish it off. Finish it off with a top hat. It kind of looks good, though. He's kind of pulling it off. You look great. You got to keep it on the whole time. He's outdressed all of you now. Incredible. Love it. I love the movie The Greatest Showman. So many good things. The other night, my wife took me on a date. She bought me a Christmas gift, and she took me to The Greatest Showman. Hugh Jackman performed at Amalie Arena, and it was a lot of fun. Anyone go? No. Okay. Cool story, bro. It was a lot of fun, so it was really good. Moving on. Hey, third section, and I'm going to close with this. I wanted to really tell you history of the church, keep a firm foundation, and say, hey, we're handing it off. And the third thing is I want you to know, if I was leaving here today, I'm not dying, but I will tell you this is my last Sunday, my family's last Sunday here at Mission City Church, just because it is Josh's church now. And Josh is your pastor. And nobody, I look at it like as a president leaves the Oval Office, he's not going to linger around and hang out on the couch as the new president comes in. The new president will have new vision and things that he wants to do. And that's what Josh is going to do. And I'm not going to get in the way with it, but I'll be on the sidelines cheering you guys on and be so excited for what God's going to do here in this place. Third section I want to talk to as I'm leaving this morning is I want you to know this, is that you're not forsaken. I think a lot of us don't step into dreams, we don't step into passions or things that God has put inside of our heart because we feel like we have screwed up and we've messed up, or God doesn't care about you anymore. You feel like your life is just, you know what, this is just what it is and this is all it's ever going to be. I believe that is false. I believe that is a lie. I love my pastor. I call Louis Giglio my pastor. I love him. He started his church at 55 years old. And I love that idea that, he started then. I look at people in their older age of like when they're starting and they're just stepping into their journeys of life. And I love seeing that. And I see that, for some of us, we hold ourselves back because of fear. We hold ourselves back from stepping out because of sin that we may have done. But I want you to know we all love a comeback story, right? We all like hearing about people's life stories. No one has ever read a book, an autobiography of someone's life that was all successful. Hey, I grew up in a rich family, had a great childhood, got everything I ever wanted, married my dream woman, had the best life ever, and then I died, but I didn't really die because I got to take it all with me. We would never read that book. You're like, that's a horrible. No, we want to read the books of people like, my life sucked, right? And it went down a really bad road, but then it turned around and it came to good. We love stories like that. We love comeback stories. We love cheering for underdogs, right? I mean, that's why we're a fan of the Rays, and that's why we're a fan of the Bucks. I mean, we love underdogs. We love cheering for things like that. I mean, or we just live in Florida and we have no other choice. I mean, it's just what it is. It's either a Patriots fan or a Bucks fan, winning or losing, whatever you want. But it's that whole idea that it's, we love this kind of stuff. We love it for other people, though, is what I've kind of found. We like get so excited when other people's lives get turned around and we're like, oh my gosh, they made it. But when it comes to us, we don't act like that. We're like, no, I can't do that now. I'm too old. No, I can't do that because, I've done this in my life. No, I can't do that because I've had a divorce or I had 2 divorces. Oh, I can't do that. Oh, because my kids did this. Oh, I can't do that because I don't have the money. I feel like my God's bigger than that. I feel like my God's bigger than all of that. I think it's interesting, and a person that we all kind of know, maybe you like him or you hate him, doesn't really matter, but a person we all know that was at the peak of his career, super successful, super famous, super rich, had everything he ever wanted, but still wasn't happy. And then his life did a turning point and he hit rock bottom. Everything he was doing in his life got exposed. Everything he was going after just fall. Endorsements, deals, everything he had just collapsed underneath him. And he found himself in jail. This is Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods had everything, but he made a lot of mistakes, right? He made a lot of mistakes. But what's so interesting, though, is that earlier this year, he came back and he won the Masters. And for you golf people in here, he won the Masters. You got to think, in this moment, do you think in this moment he was going to come back and win the Masters? Do you think in this moment, he was going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm going to make it in life again. I'm going to be back at the top. I'm going to get all the endorsements. I'm going to get everything back in my life. Do you think that? No, he probably thought, I'm at the bottom and I'm at the pit and there's nothing more. You see it in his face. He is drained. He is done. But there was something about him that he decided to fight back. There's something about him. He says, I can still push forward. And I love this picture here. Not because you see people so excited like, oh my gosh. This guy's like, oh my gosh. Like, it's just fun to look at all the faces inside that picture. And he's just like, yes. Do you think he saw this coming here? Or did he think that this was it? This was done. He's been exposed. He's been found out. His life is over with. No one will ever accept him. He'll never be allowed to do what he did before. But he decided to fight. He decided to push back. And what I love, though, is seeing this is there wasn't people in the crowd like, no, you can't do this. But there's people in the crowd saying, yes, you can. And that's what believers should be like. People hit rock bottom. They fail. They make mistakes. They screw up in their lives. They're not forsaken. They are loved. They are saved by grace. We should be on the sidelines cheering for people. Yeah, yeah, however you want to do it. Just cheer for people. Be excited. God has a plan for every single one of you. Look at the stories of the people in the Bible, though. People that were like screwed up, messed up, and God still used. Right? Like you look at Peter. Peter had a temper. Peter first lied to God. I mean, think about this. Like he says, man, Pete, I'll protect you. I'll never let anyone come after you. I'll never let anybody take you down. He took his sword out, cut a guy's ear off because they tried to go after Jesus. And he's like, no, I got you, Jesus. I'll never leave you. I got your back. But Jesus, actually, you know what's going to happen? You're going to deny me 3 times. He's like, I'll never do such a thing. No. You're going to deny me 3 times. And what happened after Jesus? He said he denied him 3 times. And he knew that he ran from God. But you know what was so interesting? After Jesus returned, Peter went fishing. I can't be used anymore. I'm not worthy anymore. I can't be used as what I once was. I thought I had a position. I thought I was doing something well. I thought life was going to change. Jesus said to me, I'm going to build on that foundation, on that rock, Pete. I'm going to build my church upon that foundation of what you said. I screwed up. I messed up. I can't anymore. What did Jesus go do? Jesus said, where's Peter? He found Peter, went to the lake, called Peter out from the boat of fishing, because Peter says, I'll just go back to my old ways. I'll just go back to being a fisherman. Hey man, Pete, you were doing so many incredible things. Yeah, but I screwed up. I'm going to go back fishing. And Jesus goes and gets him and brings him over, and they have this moment of reconciliation. And they come back. Man, maybe that's a moment that you guys need to have here today. Maybe at one time in your life you were doing something so well, but you screwed up and you messed up, and now it's time for a moment of reconciliation with God. You're not forsaken. You're not forsaken. You think about David. David had an affair. David was he conquered a giant, a bear, and a lion, right? But if you read his story throughout his journey, King David here absolutely, out of the 10 commandments, he broke at least 5 of them in there. With an affair, with murders, all kinds of things in it. Crazy, but God still used him. Noah was a drunk, that's okay. Jonah ran from God. Paul was a murderer. I mean, think about Paul. I mean, we'll get to him in a moment. But look at this list of people here that God still used these people to bring glory to his name. I love Lazarus was dead. Amazing. Abraham was old. And God still used them. Even the shortcomings and the mistakes and failures and all the things that happened in their life, God still found value in them. But now it brought stories to your life and to my life, seeing like God can still use someone like me. Incredible. Paul was this murderer, right? Paul, the Apostle Paul, his name was Saul before we got to the story later on in Acts where his name got changed to Paul here. But Paul was on that list. Paul was a murderer. You know who Paul was murdering? Christians. Why? Because they were followers of Jesus. And he couldn't stand it. And he wanted to end the movement of followers of Jesus. And he wanted to tear that down. It says, meanwhile, while Saul was breathing murderous threats against the Lord's disciples, he went to the high priest and asked for letters to the synagogues in Damascus, saying that if he found any of the ones who belonged to the way, meaning followers of Jesus, meaning the way, whether men or women, that he might take them as prisoners to Jerusalem. Paul here, greatest missionary of all, planted so many churches, written half of the New Testament, so many incredible things. This is his story? Killing Christians? Taking them down? Wow. Now knowing you're here right now, you're like, well, I haven't killed anybody. I haven't done these kind of things. You know what, Dustin? I'm actually a good person. But Dustin, my life is not going the way that I always thought it would be. And I don't understand why God allows good people to go through bad stuff. I think we've asked that question before. Why would God allow that person? They've never done anything wrong. They've never done anything bad. Why would a God allow someone to go through something bad? I have two simple answers for you. 2 simple answers. 1, to keep them humbled. God allows certain circumstances to happen in some people's lives. Some of them are things that we have done and put ourselves in the own situations, but God will allow us to go through them to keep us humbled, and he allows us to go through them to grow us. Which is interesting. My my two daughters. I have 4 children. One is 4 years old, and the other one is 2 years old. And my 4-year-old was our firstborn. And we are doing swim lessons right now. And if you've ever been a parent before and done swim lessons with kids before, it's no fun. And we are doing swim lessons for Riley, our 4-year-old. This is her 3rd time doing it. Because the first time I was like, don't you allow my baby to get any water on her. I protect my girl. Those people don't know what they're talking about. And Riley goes through it, and Riley still hasn't figured it out. I won't tell that to her face. She's 4, okay, y'all? It's okay. But she still hasn't figured it out. But I took London. London's our 2-year-old. First time going swim lessons. I took her swim lessons. I go out there, and I was like, London, listen to me. Keep your eyes on me. Somehow she's fantastic at that. Keep your eyes on me, London. And I was like, okay, here's what we're going to do. You're going to kick. And she just starts kicking. She gets it. She gets it immediately. And she starts paddling. It's like, okay, doggy paddle. How's our dog walk? And she starts doing that in the water. And she's like, I can do it by myself. That's how she talks. London, you can't do it by yourself yet. I can do it by myself. She's very sassy like her mother. But I can do it by myself. No offense. I can do it by myself. And I was like, okay, watch what happens when I let you go. I let her go. Remember, I have 4 children now, so you learn now. And I let her drop underneath the water. And I picked her back up immediately. And she wipes water. And then she goes, I can do it by myself. I was like, okay. And I let it happen again. Why am I allowing her to experiencing this? Because I know it will help grow her. She'll learn from it. And she'll understand that she has to keep paddling. She has to keep kicking to keep herself afloat. Now, Riley, I never did that with Riley. I protected Riley. I never let Riley be babysat by anyone that we didn't know. I mean, we guarded, protected, and honestly, I see the things that I've made mistakes with in raising Riley, and the idea of like, I guarded and I protected her so much where she's scared to step out and fall a little bit. Because if I go swim with Riley and Riley's like, let me do it myself, I let her go, and she's just going to. But London understands that she has to kick. I want to tell you today, so when life hits you and life doesn't go great, keep kicking, keep paddling. Don't stop. Keep the foundation of the Word. But God allows us to go through certain things in our life to keep us humbled and to help grow us. I see as a father how much better London is at a swimmer now after her first lessons because of the things that she is experiencing now by me letting go. Father does the same things with us. It's incredible to see how Paul in his journey here, out to kill Christians, out to take them down, but God does a sudden stop on his life and stops him in his tracks. And he makes him do a couple things that I want to point out to you. He says, as he was nearing Damascus on his journey, suddenly a light from heaven flashed down around him. He fell to the ground and heard a voice saying to him, Saul, Saul, why do you persecute me? He says, who are you, Lord? Paul asked. He says, I am Jesus, whom you are persecuting. He replied, he says, now get up and go into the city, and you'll be told what you must do. Immediately, Paul fell to the ground when he heard the voice. How many of us fall to the ground when God has called us, directed us, challenged us to do something, put a dream down, and we said, I'm going to fall to my ground, I'm just going to pray. Is this what you want? But then there's a second step that Paul had to do, is he had to get up and go. He had to get up and go into the city. He had to get up and go and do what he must do. There's people in this room here today are not stepping into the calling in your life, the dream that God has put in you because of fear. Fear is not from God, it is from the devil. Do not allow him to have a grasp on your life. Do not allow anything to hold you back, age, education, anything. You can do it. If God put it in you, you can do it. You're hearing that from someone that is not that smart. You're hearing that from someone that is not afraid to step out. You're hearing that from someone that says, I've never led a church before, but I'm not afraid. If God put it in me, I'm going to see it through. You have no idea what God's going to do with your life. So if you fear that you're like, I can't do it, I can't do it, I can't do it. I've screwed up, I made mistakes, I can't do it, I can't do it. I've failed too many times, I can't do it, I can't do it, I can't do it. I want to tell you this, and maybe this is all you need to know from here today, is that God's grace is all you need. His grace is all you need. And you know what? He says, my power works best in weakness. Because when you are weak, he is what? Strong. When you are weak and you don't think you can do it, you are weak and you feel like I can't do it, he is strong because his grace works best in weakness. He says, my power works best in weakness. So now I am glad to boast about my weakness so that the power of Christ can work through me. Allow God to work through your life. Sometimes we're stopping God. We're saying, no, I can't do it. If I didn't get on that plane in Los Angeles, say, God, I don't want to go. I don't know what to do. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to go. I'm scared. But you allow him to work through you. Oh, man. He works best through my weakness. He works best through your weakness if you allow him to work best through it. So, church family, this is my final time preaching on this stage for a while probably, and it's been an absolute pleasure for you to call me your pastor. It's been an absolute pleasure for you to accept my family, to buy into dreams and ideas. It's been so much fun, and I believe this is going to be so incredible to sit on the sidelines now to watch Pastor Josh and Natalie grow in this ministry and watch this church just grow and expand and make a massive impact in this community. And you guys are going to be truly blessed by being a part of it. So I thank you. From my family to yours, we love you and we thank you for supporting this. You guys are awesome.